So, students, in the previous session, we have completed air pollution and its control. What measures were taken to control the air pollution in Delhi? That is a case study we had made, right? We had understood the advantages of CNG over the petrol or diesel, right? And how different types of engines or different standards of engines were introduced in India, BS2, BS3, BS4 and BS6 norms. All these aspects we have understood in the previous session. Now let us study about water pollution and its control. See, by understanding the importance of purity of the water, Government of India passed the Water Act or Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act in the year 1974. Air Act that was passed in the year 1981 and it was amended in the year 1987 to include the noise pollution. This can be an important one-mark question. And this also, Water Act in the year 1974 to safeguard our water resources by Government of India is also one-mark question. So, how the water is getting polluted? There are mainly two reasons for water pollution. One is domestic sewage and industrial effluents. Domestic sewage means what? The wastewater that are released by the household. The wastewater that is released by the household means it can be the fecal matter, it can be the toilet waste, it can be the waste from the kitchen, right? It can be the waste food products that can be thrown in the water, that all comprise what? The domestic sewage. Then industrial effluent will consist of different types of minerals, maybe toxic chemicals, maybe heavy metals, right? Maybe hot water, right? All these different types of pollutants can be found in the industrial effluents. Now, when we talk about the pollutants and water pollution, see, mere just 0.1% of the pollutants, mere 0.1% of the impurities present in the water can make the water to be impure. So, just 0.1% idru kuda, water will become unfit for usage for mankind, unfit for drinking. So this 0.1%, what all it can be including? It can be including suspended solid materials like sand, silt and clay. Okay, ಮಣ್ಣಿನ ಪದಾರ್ಥಗಳು ಅಂತದಲ್ಲ ಇರಬಹುದು. Colloidal material like fecal matter, bacteria, cloth, paper fibers, etc. Then dissolved materials like nutrients. See, this is a very dangerous form of pollutants actually. Dissolved materials, that is nutrients like nitrates, ammonium, phosphate, sodium, calcium. Organic materials, if dissolved in the water, it is very difficult to remove or separate it from the water and purify the water. If these suspended solids idre athwa colloidal material idre, this can be physically separated either by filtration or by sedimentation. Yes, so you have already learnt how the water can be purified, how the water treatment can be done, primary and secondary water treatment nim kaltidiri already in the chapter of microbes in human welfare, right? So the same thing I am talking about. So these are the physical impurities which can be separated either by filtration or by sedimentation, whereas these dissolved organic molecules or dissolved organic materials such as different types of nutrients cannot be separated. So this has to be subjected for secondary treatment or microbial treatment of the water, right? So domestic sewage primarily contains biodegradable organic matter which can be readily decomposed by microbes. So this is what we call it as secondary treatment of water, as we have learnt in the chapter microbes in human welfare. Kaltidiralva? So it is possible to estimate the amount of BOD, right? So organic matter sewage alli eshtiде anta ನಾವು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ, so it is possible to measure the BOD, that is biochemical oxygen demand, or it's also called biological oxygen demand anta kariteve. So how is this possible? It is because, see, microorganisms present in the water, so they are going to increase BOD or decrease BOD. BOD increases when organic content is more. Yes or no? Because of the organic content that is more, organisms which are present in the water, they are actually feeding upon that, and during the process of feeding upon them, rapid feeding ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ, they will require a lot of oxygen. and when they use lot of oxygen, dissolved oxygen present in the water, ಅಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತಹ ಬೇರೆ ಜೀವಿಗಳಿಗೆ the other organism present in the water will not get oxygen. So there creates a demand for the oxygen. This is what is called as biological or biochemical oxygen demand. So this is a simple method of understanding what is BOD. I hope you have understood. Right? So microorganisms ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ? Microorganisms feeding upon those organic, dissolved organic content ಮೇಲೆ feed ಮಾಡ್ತಿರುವಂತಹ organisms ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ. So when the water is rich with organic matter, they rapidly feed upon that organic matter. Right? When they're rapidly feeding upon it, they require a lot of energy. They are aerobic organisms. When they require a lot of energy, they will require a lot of oxygen. They absorb all the oxygen from the water, dissolved oxygen from the water, and as a result of which the other organisms which actually require oxygen, they will not receive the adequate or required amount of the oxygen. So this creates the demand for oxygen. What is it called as? Biochemical oxygen demand. And that is how we can estimate the BOD based on the amount of organic matter present in the water. Now, by looking at this diagram, we can actually understand it in a better way. So here on the y-axis, the concentration of the organic matter, it is plotted here, and on the x-axis we are showing the direction of the flow of the water. Imagine this is a river flowing from here to here, right? Flowing in this direction, and you are going to throw some organic matter at this particular point. ಏನಾಗಬಹುದು? This is a flowing water, when you throw some organic content at this particular point, the water in this area will get polluted immediately. But when you look at this particular point, the amount of pollution here and here will be the same or different? Definitely it will be different, because water is continuously flowing and more number of water molecules will mix with this pollutant, and that is why the concentration of the pollutant will be greatly reduced here. Yes or no? Idan talele itkoli. And based on that, we will study this particular graph and look at how the different changes take place in any water body because of the increase in the organic content. See, sewage discharge takes place, as a result of which what is happening? Blue color line nota idiri. See, this is actually showing the BOD. BOD increases drastically. BOD increases drastically just after the release of sewage or sewage discharge. And when BOD increases, obviously DO, that is the dissolved oxygen, has to decrease. DO and BOD, they are inversely proportional. ಒಂದು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇರಲೇಬೇಕು. If the DO is more, then BOD must be less. If the BOD is more, then DO must be less. Right? So because of the sewage discharge at this particular point, the BOD increases rapidly, and as a result of which the dissolved oxygen coming down significantly. Dissolved oxygen ತುಂಬಾ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದೆ, BOD ತುಂಬಾ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದೆ. ಬಟ್ ನೀರು ಹರಿತಾ ಇದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಹೋಗೋ ಅಷ್ಟೊತ್ತಿಗೆ ಡೈಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆಗಿ ಈ ಸಿವೇಜ್ ಏನಿತ್ತು ಅದು ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಡ್ ಆಗಿ ದ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಪೊಲ್ಯೂಟೆಂಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಷ್ಟು ಇಲ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ, ತುಂಬಾ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತಹ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಕ್ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಏನಾಗಿದೆ? ಡಿಸಾಲ್ವ್ಡ್ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಕಂಟೆಂಟ್ ಸ್ಲೋಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿದೆ, and it has reached its peak, and you are seeing the BOD level has gone down. Yes or no? So BOD tumba kadime aitu and DO jasti aitu. How did this happen? It's not only because of the flowing of the water, it is also because of the microbial activity here. When sewage was discharged, illiruvanta microorganisms, they started feeding upon that sewage or the organic matter in the sewage rapidly. When they were rapidly feeding upon it, they absorbed all the oxygen. Oxygen content kadime aitu, agénaitu, DO drop aitu. Right? So DO drop ಆಗಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ, ಸೊ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದೆ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದಾಗ ಮಾತ್ರ ಅದರದ್ದು ನಿಮಗೆ ಏನು ಡಿಮ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಇಫ್ ದರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಮಾಡೆಲ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಬೈಕ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ನಾವು, ಸೊ ಆ ಮಾಡೆಲ್ದು ಬೈಕ್ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಬಟ್ ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದಾಗ ಡಿಮ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಗೆ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಬೇಕು, ಎಲ್ಲ ಜೀವಿಗಳಿಗೂ ಬೇಕು. ಬಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲೇನಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಮೈಕ್ರೋ ಆರ್ಗಾನಿಸಮ್ಗಳು ಮಾತ್ರ ರ್ಯಾಪಿಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಅನ್ನ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಬ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಆಸ್ ಎ ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ವಿಚ್ ವಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್, ಅ ಡಿಮ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ಸ್, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ BOD. Yes, and when BOD increases because of the DOD decrease, right? When ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಕ್ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್ ನ ಫೀಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ ನಂತರ ಆ microbial activity it goes on decreasing as and when the water flows to this particular point. Yes, ಇಲ್ಲಿ microbial activity ತುಂಬಾ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. When microbial activity is less, the amount of the oxygen absorbed by those microbes is also very less. As a result of which oxygen is now available. Dissolved oxygen content ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿದೆ. And when oxygen is there, when supply of the product is there, demand ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಯಿತು. So obviously biological oxygen demand or biochemical oxygen demand got reduced. So this is how you need to study this. So this can be, and you are also seeing here fish kill and disappearance of the clean water. Discharge ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ because of the high content of the organic matter, so ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, microbial activity ತುಂಬಾ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದ್ದಾಗ because of the less availability of the oxygen, many of the fishes are dead. And here because the BOD decreases and DO increases, once again reappearance of the clean water and the organisms happens. So you may be asked to explain this particular graph, effect of sewage discharge on some important characteristics of river. This can be an important 5 mark question. You must be having understood this particular graph perfectly. So microorganisms, the same thing which I explained till now, the same thing has been written here. Microorganisms involved in biodegradation of organic matter in the receiving water body consume a lot of oxygen, and as a result there is a sharp decline in the dissolved oxygen downstream from the point of sewage discharge. This causes mortality of the fish and other aquatic creatures. So that is what ನಾನು ಇಷ್ಟೊತ್ತು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು ಇದನ್ನೇ. Right? Moving on to the next slide. So presence of large amount of such dissolved organic molecules or nutrients, mainly the sulfates and phosphates and nitrates. So ವಾಟರ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗಿದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, this is a highly required nutrient for the growth of the plants, right? And plants, basically the phytoplanktons anta en karitivi, the plants which can readily spread on the surface of the water, they cover the entire surface of the water. The planktonic plants, free floating algae like plants, so they completely entirely cover the surface of the water body, and that is what is called as algal bloom anta kariteve. So you have come across this word algal bloom even in the first year, that is in the plant kingdom chapter, while learning about algae. So it gives a very distinctive coloration, a completely green coloration, dark green coloration to the water body, and algal blooms also cause deterioration of the water quality. Yake anta helidre, these algae, these organisms which cause the algal blooms, they reduce the quality of the water by releasing some harmful chemicals. They cause the death of many organisms, many aquatic plants and animals, many aquatic microorganisms, and it can be even toxic to human beings. See, you can look at these pictures here. This is a lake or a pond which is completely covered by the green colored algae. This is what is called as algal bloom, and because of this the water quality goes on decreasing and may cause in the death of aquatic organisms like this. There is a dead fish. Yes, so this is the concept of algal bloom. And there is one more possibility of growing of plants such as hyacinth. Eichhornia crecipes is the scientific name of this. It's called water hyacinth commonly. Water hyacinth is the common name. Eichhornia crecipes is the scientific name. So it is the most problematic weed in the world, most problematic aquatic weed in the world. Yake anta helidre, once it starts growing in any water body, it grows at a very faster rate. ಎಷ್ಟು faster rate ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, manually machines ಅನ್ನು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು human beings ಅನ್ನು ರಿಮೂವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ it will grow in a much faster rate than you go on removing it. That is why it is very difficult to control Eichhornia growing in the water bodies, and this also causes a similar problem. You can look at this one. See, this completely covers the water body, illella neerittu, but now as it is covering the entire water body, the sunlight cannot penetrate into the water body anymore, and this also releases certain harmful chemicals which may also cause the death of many aquatic organisms. See, this was actually brought into India for its beautiful colored, mauve colored anta karitivi. It's called mauve, M-A-U-V-E, mauve colored flowers. This is how the plant looks like. Because of its beauty, it was introduced into India, but later they realized the harmful effect of this particular plant. So it had a lot of deterioratory effect in the water bodies. So that is why it's also called as Terror of Bengal. It's called Scourge of water bodies anta kuda kariteve. It's called Terror of Bengal anta kuda kariteve. So this can be an important 1 mark question. Terror of Bengal andre yavdu anta kelidre Eichhornia crassipes or water hyacinth. Water hyacinth is the common name, Eichhornia crassipes is the scientific name. Okay, remember this. So in the next session, let us continue with the water pollution, the other aspects of the water pollution, and the case study, biomagnification, eutrophication. There are 2 more concepts about this. Let's continue in the next class.